A waiter dismissed a young man with a disability. He couldn't speak and relied on gestures to communicate. But the waiter ignored his attempts, making the young man feel small and invisible. What the waiter didn't know, though, was that someone at a nearby table was watching everything closely. And what this man did next left everyone in the restaurant speechless. Before we dive into the story, close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself in this situation. Feel every moment as it unfolds. When you've watched until the end, let us know in the comments what you would have done, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories like this. Ethan was born in a small town where opportunities were already scarce, and for someone like him, they were almost non-existent. From a young age, Ethan knew the world wasn't designed for people who couldn't speak. His inability to talk wasn't just a limitation, it was a daily challenge in being understood, seen, and included. But Ethan was a fighter. He never let his disability define his potential. Whether through gestures, writing, or sheer determination, he always found a way to communicate. His parents, hard-working but initially unsure how to support him, learned alongside him. Together, they adapted and persevered, forming a bond of silent but powerful understanding. Ethan recently achieved something extraordinary. He completed an online course that most people doubted he could finish. It wasn't just an academic accomplishment. It was a victory against all the doubts and struggles he had faced his entire life. Today, he decided to celebrate, not with anyone else, but by treating himself to a nice meal at a cozy restaurant. Walking into the restaurant, Ethan felt a mix of pride and excitement. The place wasn't luxurious, but it had a warm and welcoming vibe. The walls were adorned with vintage photos, and sunlight streamed through large windows, lighting up the lively atmosphere. Ethan chose a table near the window, enjoying the small but significant act of dining alone, a moment of independence he cherished. As Ethan settled in, he realized he had forgotten his blue notebook at home. This notebook was his lifeline in places where gestures weren't enough to communicate. For a moment, he hesitated. Without it, how would he order? But giving up wasn't an option. He took a deep breath, ready to face the challenge. Soon, a young waiter named Tyler approached his table. Tyler looked rushed and overwhelmed, juggling multiple orders. "Table for one? Got it. What would you like to order?" Tyler asked, barely glancing at Ethan. Ethan smiled faintly and pointed to the menu, gesturing toward the dish he wanted. His movements were calm and clear, but Tyler's patience was already wearing thin. "Look," Tyler said, crossing his arms. "I don't know what you're trying to say, and I don't have time for this." Ethan froze for a moment, feeling Tyler's sharp tone like a jab. He gestured again, trying to explain, but without his notebook, the gap felt too wide to bridge. Tyler shook his head, muttered something under his breath, and walked away, leaving Ethan sitting there, feeling small and defeated. The restaurant was buzzing with conversations and laughter, but an uncomfortable silence had settled around Ethan's table. Other customers had noticed the interaction. Some exchanged awkward glances, while others looked away, pretending not to see. Across the room, however, someone was paying very close attention. At a corner table, a tall man with a calm yet commanding presence observed everything. His sharp eyes followed every move, from Ethan's hesitant gestures to Tyler's dismissive attitude. He didn't act right away, but leaned slightly forward, his expression thoughtful and intense. Tyler returned to Ethan's table, his impatience now even more evident. "Seriously? You can't even order? If you can't communicate, that's not my problem." His words were sharp and loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Ethan stayed calm, pointing at the menu again with trembling hands. But Tyler let out a sarcastic laugh. "Man, you're making this way harder than it needs to be. This is a restaurant, not a charity workshop." The room went silent. Conversations stopped as customers turned to watch the scene unfold. Ethan's face flushed as he tried to hold on to his composure. Across the restaurant, The man at the corner table finally stood up. His movements were calm but deliberate, and his presence commanded attention as he walked toward Ethan's table. Reaching the table, the man's steady voice broke the silence. "This ends now." Tyler turned, startled. "Who are you?" "This is between me and him," he said, trying to sound confident but faltering under the man's piercing gaze. The man tilted his head slightly, his voice calm but firm. "I'm someone who knows how to treat people with respect, something you clearly haven't learned." The customers watched in stunned silence as the man continued. "You think this is frustrating for you? Imagine how he feels. He came here to enjoy a meal just like everyone else. Your job is to serve, not to decide who deserves respect." Tyler opened his mouth to argue, but the man raised a hand, silencing him. "Take his order. Treat him with the respect he deserves. That's not optional." He then turned to Ethan, crouching slightly to meet his eye level. In gentle sign language, he said, "It's okay now. I'm here." Ethan's lips trembled into a shy but grateful smile. He signed back a simple, heartfelt "thank you." The man took Ethan's menu and handed it to Tyler. "Here's his order. Make it happen." Tyler reluctantly took the menu and walked away. The restaurant erupted into quiet applause as customers clapped, their faces filled with admiration. The man gestured for them to stop. "This isn't about me," he said. "It's about him. Remember that." Ethan relaxed for the first time since entering the restaurant. When his meal arrived, the manager approached his table, visibly embarrassed. "Sir, I want to apologize for my staff's behavior. That was unacceptable and doesn't reflect our values. Your meal is on us today," he said. Ethan nodded, his gratitude clear even without words. As he left the restaurant, he looked back at the man, who was still sitting at his corner table, calmly finishing his coffee. Ethan signed another thank you, and the man responded with a simple nod and a small smile. "Respect is the universal language," the man signed back, before returning to his meal. Later, the story went viral online, inspiring thousands of people. The restaurant implemented inclusion training for its staff, and a sign at the entrance now read, "Everyone is welcome here." Ethan's courage and the man's intervention became a powerful reminder that kindness and respect can change lives. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that celebrate compassion and humanity.